welcome to a new video. It's been a really long time. It's been about a month, I think. So I'm going to record like 3 videos in a row and then upload them. And as one is uploading, I'm going to record another. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at the Senate elections again. And in today's Senate election, obviously, the most recently, we've had uh, Indiana's primary, where Mike Braun was the former state representative, was um, nominated for the Republican Party in the state of Indiana. Joe Donnelly was obviously unopposed in that race, as far as I'm concerned. He did win there. Sherrod Brown was unopposed. He was renominated there, and Jim Renacci, whatever it is, U.S. Representative of Ohio's 16th Congressional District, was nominated as the Republican nominee in the state of Ohio. In West Virginia, Joe Manchin won his primary significantly. He trounced all of his opponent. Well, he had one main opponent, and that was a Bernie-level politician. He trounced her in the state of West Virginia, and he will be pinned up against reasonably popular West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey. So let's go through these Senate elections and talk about what I think is gonna happen and what we can expect from some of these Senate elections. Obviously, Dianne Feinstein's gonna be safe. If you have a D next to your name in that state, you're gonna be safe. Same thing in Washington. Martin Heinrich, I don't see him losing. There's probably no way he loses. Um, Over here in the New England states, most of these people are going to be safe, um, if not all of them safe. And the interesting thing I'm going to do here, real quick, is I'm going to make New Jersey a likely blue. I think that Bob Menendez is going to bring this one out on top. I mean, after all, this is state of New Jersey, but with all the controversy that is surrounding Senator Menendez, I wouldn't put it safe for him per se. So I'm going to be putting that one likely for him. Bernie Sanders is easily going to win in Vermont. We'll come back to Maine because it isn't safe as far as I'm concerned. Um, Hawaii, Mazie Hirono is going to be safe. Blue. Uh, Kirsten Gillibrand is going to be safe. And yeah, those are the ones that I think are going to be safe for the Democrats, with the exception of New Jersey. For the Republicans, I think that Mitt Romney will win over Jenny Wilson in the state of Utah. John Barrasso is going to be safe. Deb Fischer is safe. Roger Wicker is going to be safe when it comes down to that primary. And Cindy Hyde Smith, that's going to be a likely red state. Probably not going to go to Mike Espy, but I think that Cindy Hyde Smith is going to be reasonably likely or even safe in that state, along the lines of 5 to 10 points there. So let's go over some of the ones that we haven't talked about yet. The likely states that I think are going to go for the Democrats are, first off, Pennsylvania. I think that the Democrats are going to edge out Pennsylvania, so I'm going to give it likely to them. Uh, and same thing with the state of Virginia. I think that Tim Kaine is going to bring that one out by a reasonable margin, um, probably around 9 to 10 points, I would assume, in the state of Virginia. If everything goes well, and of course we still have several months to go, so everything can change in a blink of an eye. That's just how politics is. Um, I expect Maine to go likely for Angus King. I don't see it being safe because he is going to be pinned up against some pretty good challengers in Maine, and Maine is progressively becoming a little bit more of a conservative state, despite what the pundits say. So that's going to be one to watch, although I think that at the end of the day, Angus King is a pretty popular representative in the state of Maine, and I think he'll come out on top. Now let's get to the Republican states that I think are going to be leads and likely, and this is going to be, well, First off, let's start with the easiest of them. I think Texas will be likely for Ted Cruz. Beto O'Rourke, you got to give credit where credit is due. He's been running up a pretty good margin against Ted Cruz in most of the polls, but I think at the end of the day, it's obviously Texas, and Texas, for the time being at least, is going to be a moderately red state. So likely for Ted Cruz. This is where it gets hard because actually, let's do the second easiest state here, and that's in the state of Tennessee, where I think Marsha Blackburn can win that one. I think she's gonna pull that one off very slightly over Phil Bredesen, and this one is a very topsy turvy one. So this one will be one that we're gonna have to watch and update in future videos. Next one that I think that will lean to the Republicans is the state of Florida. Polls have been pointing towards Rick Scott. Pundits have been pointing towards Rick Scott. I think Rick Scott can pull this one off. Obviously, this one is another one like Tennessee. It's topsy-turvy, so we're going to have to watch the polls very closely, watch the pundits very closely, and um, watch the intellect of the candidates in this election very closely. We're going to do the first pickoff of, well, this was the first pickoff for the Democratic states, but the first real big toss-up pickoff, like a really big toss-up pickoff, the state of, let's go to Indiana. I think Indiana is going to lean to the Republicans. You got a pretty electable candidate pinned up against Joe Donnelly, and I think that's enough to edge out Mike Braun. Joe Donnelly is not all that popular. But I think he's popular enough to win. I just don't think he's going to win in this state. I think it's a state that Mike Braun can pick up pretty easily if he plays all of his cards correctly. I'm going to lean the state of Missouri for Josh Hawley, assuming he is the nominee. I think he can edge this one out despite being wrapped up in a scandal. We'll see how that one works out. Obviously, as the scandal unfolds, we'll see how his campaign unfolds and whether it's not, or whether it's able to, hold itself up or not. Next one I want to lean to the Republicans is instead of North Dakota. So Heidi Heitkamp. I think she'll be unseated by whoever, assuming it's Kevin Cramer, unseated by him. He and I think that he can win that one. Next states, I think that Amy Klobuchar is going to be likely in the state of Minnesota. I think that Tina Smith is going to be likely in the state of Minnesota. I don't think there's much to talk about there. Debbie Stabenow is going to be safe. I'm just giving that safe to her. She's got really notable challenges that I need to talk about very intensely. So yeah, that's that. Um, I think that Joe Manchin will lean. I'm gonna lean his seat to him. Obviously, it's a true toss-up at this point. The Republicans nominated a pretty electable candidate, so I'm going to lean it to him for the sake of incumbency. But obviously, again, that can change very quickly. I think that the next Democratic state, and here's a Republican state that is going to be flipped to the Democrats, and that is Kyrsten Sinema. I believe that she will win in the state of Arizona pretty handedly, but I'm going to lean it to her for now. I think Jon Tester is going to keep his seat. There's no really notable challengers there that are going up against him. Tammy Baldwin, I'm going to give Wisconsin leans to her. Obviously, no chosen out Republicans yet. But I think she'll edge out any Republican that runs against her. I think that Jackie Rosen is going to take Dean Heller's seat in the state of Nevada. Dean Heller has been leading, showing an early lead in the polls. We still have a long time to go, but I think at the end of the day, on November 6th, on Election Day, I think Jackie Rosen will win. And that comes down to the state of Ohio, which is a hard one. But in the end of the day, I think that Sherrod Brown is popular enough to maintain his seat in the state of Ohio, so I'm going to lean that to him. That gives Republicans majority, 53 to 47 Democrats, which is close, and there might even be a special election in Arizona, depending on what John McCain does in the future. So thank you for watching. As this one is uploading, I will be recording another video that will go on my channel right after this one is up. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next video.